I'm really excited for this one. I'm gonna be giving you a whole home tour of my brand new house. And this is the 5th and final video in the series where I take you on the journey from moving out of my old house and moving into my new house as a divorced woman. So here I am in my house, and I'm so excited to show you where I live and how I've put it all together. And I will just say this right off the top. It is not perfect. It is not nearly as done or tidy or organized as I would like it to be, but we gotta start somewhere, and I am happy to show you where I'm at right now. Now, if you're seeing this video first, I've got a link down below for you in the description. You can see all of the other videos in this series leading up to this moment. You should go back and watch those first. If this is your first time landing on the Clean My Space channel, welcome. Normally I put out really fun and funny cleaning, organizing, and decluttering content, and you can subscribe right over here. So I will situate you. This is a modern townhome. It's an inner unit and it's on a bit of an angle. This is a pie-shaped lot. So you'll notice where I'm standing facing the front door, it's always gonna flare out a little. And that was one of the first things I noticed when I walked into this house. It was a little weird. This is a 3-story home, so my kitchen is actually on the 2nd floor. That is also a little bit of an oddity here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you floor by floor through the house and show you all the different rooms. Okay, so in the front entryway, I'd like to point out to you, and I believe I've shared this already, that I used to have a staircase right over here. And when you walked into the front entrance, you were always sort of like jammed off to the side. So what needed to happen was they had to remove the staircase. And honestly, when I walk into this house now, it feels so much more efficient in terms of the use of space. One of the things that I love in a front entrance of a hotel is their big circular console table with flowers. Then I also anchored the space with this rug. This is an Oriental style rug, but what I really like about it is that it's big, it's multicolor, and it's machine washable. A couple other things that I did here is I put in a coat tree because I didn't want to have a whole bunch of hooks, or I didn't want people to walk into the front hall and not know where to put their stuff. Now, when I have a lot of people come in, it's not like people are fighting for somewhere to stand or sit or, you know, get their shoes on or take them off or put up their coat. There's just a lot of space for them to do whatever they want. All right, let's see what else is on this floor. All right, so if you go down these 3 stairs, you will get to the basement, which is unfinished and kind of not fun, so we're not gonna look there. Right over here is the laundry room / garage entrance, and I have a link to the video where I go through my laundry room so you can see all of that. Put that down below. And then this is the 2nd staircase that goes up to the 2nd level of my house. So again, you can see why it was absolutely not necessary to have 2. I will also point out that there are a couple things that I picked up from Facebook Marketplace. This side table right here is by a store called LT, and it is a really expensive store. And I picked this table up for $150. I'm sure it costs 10 times that. Now, right over here is a walk-in front hall closet. I almost fainted when I saw this. I couldn't believe that I was moving into a house with a walk-in closet in the front hallway. Like, that feels dreamy. The way that I organize this is I have Riley's stuff down toward the bottom, easily accessible for her. And then I have boot trays at the bottom so that we don't have to worry about dirt kind of getting everywhere where all the shoes are gonna be. I also have a couple of baskets here. I found my label maker and baskets. As much as I wanna say I don't need that in my life, I actually do. So it's nice to sort of have a place for everything to convene, items that would otherwise just be scattered all around the house. And just behind me, and one of the reasons I absolutely fell in love with this house, is my office. This is a beautiful space. It's ground level. It's got nice big windows, and I put it together to be my dream working space. Okay, how great is this office? Now, the way that I set my space up is pretty simple. I, again, consulted this feng shui expert, and she suggested that having a world map behind your desk was like one of the best things you could do. So I went on Facebook Marketplace and I found this one. It is absolutely huge. I think it measures 4 by 6. I also have this little setup over here. I was so obsessed with this little side table when I saw it. Kind of looks like toothpaste or shaving cream. I had to have it. I had to. This bookcase I also picked up from Facebook Marketplace, and I've used it as sort of like a fun decor shelf, but also as a functional space. I didn't want to get any drawers or cupboards back here because it just forces me to be that much more mindful about what I allow into my office versus what I'm like stuffing away so I don't have to look at. So I have like these tiny crates here. One is for office supplies. That required a lot of trimming down, but what's in there is really what I need and nothing else. And then right over here is across my desk. And this is sort of the meeting or congregation space, if you will, which I think is so much fun. Like I have the workspace over there, and then I can come over here, lie on the couch, take a call. This is where I do a lot of my, phone editing. So if I'm sitting there editing a little something for Instagram or whatnot, it'll usually be on this couch. My team also likes to take meetings here. And I just love the way that this space all came together. These shelves did not exist. And I just, I styled these with different things that I had from the house, but then also just wanted to bring in like some elements of fun. And as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing this box shouldn't even be here. So, things just end up sometimes where they're not supposed to, and that's part of life. The way in which I sort of chose the color palette for this space was I wanted it to be like the loudest and most ostentatious space in the house. I have my neon art from my old house, as well as this, I guess technically you could call it neon art as well. And then the chairs, the coffee table, and the sofa all came from Facebook Marketplace. And if you watched our carpet cleaning video, you already knew that because I got all of these things professionally steam cleaned. I think this was one of the most fun spaces for me to decorate. I absolutely love it. And I made some bold choices, okay? Not everyone is gonna go for these choices, I get that. But I will say when I walk in here, it's definitely a bit of a dopamine hit. So if you're looking for a bit of dopamine decor, steal some ideas. Okay, so this is the second story of the house. Just behind me is the dining room. Here to my right is the powder room. To my left, the stairs going up to the 3rd floor, and in front of me is the kitchen and the family room. So immediately behind me, there's this cute little sitting area that I have to show you because when I walked into this house, I noticed how even though this is sort of a narrow space, it feels really open and airy because I've got the 10-foot ceilings, but then this sort of overlooks that front entryway, and then it has this little banister area. And I was like, I know the exact chairs for my house that I'm gonna put in this area. And then I picked up this cute little side table, and I got these really nice pillows that I think just work well in the space. Over this way is the dining room. And I will just say, whenever we have big family events, we end up bringing the round kitchen table over here and moving these chairs out. So this becomes the kids area. This is the kids table. This dining room is essentially a direct transplant of all of the items from my old house right here into the new house. A couple of things that I changed out: the light fixture. It was not so great before, and I just found this one. I thought it looked so grand but modern, and yeah, it really works in this space. And then I have this art from the old house, which I hung myself, and can't you tell, it's hung crooked. That's why some things are just not meant for me to do, and I'm fully okay with admitting that. These mirrors over here, I get so many compliments on, and I just knew I had to have them back in this house as well. Okay, so if I go just through here, this house also comes fully equipped with a butler's pantry. So this cute little hallway is the butler's pantry, and honestly, there's not much to it. It's just some additional storage. The other thing that is in here is the reverse osmosis filters, and I also use this to store kind of overflow pantry or food items, as well as things like wine glasses. But then that brings me right to the kitchen. When it comes to the decor of the kitchen, I will say that this is how the kitchen came. I didn't do any changes to it aside from the appliances, which I covered in that last video. Now, you can see the cabinets are super high up. I'm really proud to say that I haven't overstuffed these top cabinets. I think only a few of them have items in them, but I made a point to not just shove things in there for the sake of shoving things in there. And I'm really proud of myself for that. In terms of the aesthetic choices, really nothing in this kitchen is how I would have chosen it to be, but I'm also fine with it as is. I'm not about to go and spend money to make this kitchen look nicer. It is totally functional. And this is the breakfast area in the kitchen. I love this little cozy space. So you'll see I have kind of those pink elements as well as the red element. I have that rug on the floor. But then I also looked for different items to bring in that reflected the kitchen. Orange is supposed to be a pretty good color to have in the kitchen as well. So yeah, there were just like some things, fresh flowers, beautiful art, plants, just to make it like a really warm and attractive and kind of abundant space. I did get these plants from Costco. There's a big elephant ear alocasia here, and there's a bird of paradise. These two plants flank the kitchen. They also are drenched in sunlight, so my expectation is that they will turn into 10-foot tall trees in the next year. Fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. And this is the beautiful family room that is off the kitchen. And what I love about this space is how well lit and how open it is. It just makes it so unbelievably welcoming. And when I'm hosting people or entertaining, what's really nice is that people can gather at the breakfast table, which is right that way, at the bar stool situation, which is right over here. That's already 8 seats, and then you can have a whole bunch more people sitting here. This is a 10-by-8 sofa, so it's just perfect for entertaining, like what everyone says in every home show. But yeah, I really did find that. Now, when it comes to how I set this room up, these two areas where there are sort of built-ins were just open niches before. So we have shelves, and then there's just a little cupboard door, and I got those knobs on Etsy. They were very inexpensive, but they just look pretty, you know, just a little added pop. And then of course I've just accessorized with plants. I also have these little books over here. Those are actually little storage boxes, and I plan on using those to put photos that I will be printing out instead of just storing on my phone, because it is nice every now and then to flip through family photos, and Riley really loves it. Also, there's this little electric fireplace. Does it emit any heat? No. Does my daughter like to play with it? Absolutely. Now in here, the color theme, if you will, is really green and gold. That's also feng shui. This is sort of the wealth corner of a house, so green and gold and purple, all great colors that you can bring in. This table is super duper cool, and it came from Facebook Marketplace. It was a couple $100, and what I like about it is that it's not too precious. Things are always happening on this table, and I don't have to sweat it too much. And this rug was from a West Elm warehouse sale. I paid $500 for it. It's a 9x12, and on the website, it's over $2,100. So make sure that if you are eyeing something and stores that you like have warehouse sales, that you tune into those warehouse sales, because wow, did I do well on that one. When I walked into this house, what I wanted was a flood of light, because that's what I had in my old house. I had a beautiful view and tons of light. And if you look out this back window, all you see is a gorgeous ravine and tons of light coming through these super tall windows. These must be 6 feet high. Like, they're really big, and they just flood the space with light. So that really excited me, because I knew for filming and just for like living in general, having light in my house was going to make a huge difference for me and my happiness. That completes the loop of the second floor. Now we're gonna go upstairs, and I'll show you where the bedrooms are. Okay, we're up to the 3rd floor. There are 42 steps in this house. It's a lot of work to get up here, but once you're up here, it's a peaceful, quaint place with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. This light fixture over here, this is actually from IKEA, and I love it. Again, I thought the chandelier was really ugly that was here, so I replaced it with this. Now I know some people are gonna think this is really ugly, and it's my house, so that's okay. I like it, and that's all that matters. So where should we go first? We're gonna go to my bedroom. Okay, so I just love this room. It is such a beautiful retreat and calm space for me. You probably noticed that there's not a lot going on the walls, and that's because I haven't quite figured out how I want to finish off this room. There's definitely some walls that need art. I might also get some sort of a wall unit or a dresser, TBD on that. But for now, this is what I've got, and I'm really happy with the way it looks so far. Over to my left, I have this pair of chairs, and what I love about these is that they almost look like they were bought specifically for everything else in this room, but I got them on Facebook Marketplace. Of course, I had them professionally cleaned, and sometimes they house my clothing. Most of the time, they house all the extra pillows, and some of the time, they also do house a bum or two when we get to sitting there. The night tables are from the old house. These lamps, again, I get it. They are really contentious. Some people love them. Some people think they're hideous. That's okay. It's my house. I think they're cool. All right, so just before I move on to the bed, I will point out that I found these cute pink trays at Target, and I just thought they looked really nice on either side of the nightstand. All right, so we'll start with the headboard, which is pretty grand and something I wanted to be comfortable and cozy and beautiful and definitely make a statement. This is that. This is by article, but by way of Facebook Marketplace. I got it for about $200, and it is so big that on the day of moving into this house, I actually had the movers start at the pickup point for this headboard. They picked it up, and then they came to my old house, loaded everything into the truck, and then came here and unloaded everything. They also told me that this is not coming out of my house because I took out that staircase. So whomever buys this house from me will also be getting a free headboard. And then the way that I kind of put the bed together, I wanted to bring in some elements of pink, but I didn't want it to be like Pepto-Bismol. So I've got sort of this like muted pink, and then I brought in some of these other kind of cozier textures. This was also from that West Elm sale. So even though it looks expensive, and it would be if I paid retail price for it, I got it on a really good sale, and that felt good. Now in this corner over here, we have a pile, and I talk about these piles often. It's just stuff that still needs a home. Don't judge. I left the pile there today instead of cleaning it up for you, because like, this is real life. You probably have a pile at home too. It's fine. And then over here on my right, there's like a little Juliet balcony, a small balcony off the door. I don't honestly know what one might do on this balcony besides wave to the animals in the ravine. I have spy on the neighbors. I don't know. But anyway, it is nice to have just a little something, and depending on the weather, I'll open the door and just let the fresh air breeze through. I have not spent any money on window treatments anywhere in this house aside from Riley's room, which I will show you in a quick moment. Now, directly in front of me, just behind the camera, is the bathroom, and just to my left is the closet. So I will show you both of those as well. This bathroom really impressed me. For a townhouse, this is a huge bathroom. Now, one of the first changes I made is I put in a timer fan instead of just having a manual on-off fan, which is important because it helps to keep mold and mildew out of the bathroom. So I will just set it usually on a 2-hour timer and let it run while I'm showering through to when I'm done my shower. Over my head is this divisive light fixture that I found on Facebook Marketplace, but speaks to the palm tree queen inside of me. And I don't know, it just makes me very happy. The person who installed it just found it absolutely atrocious and made sure that I knew that, and I was totally fine with that. I also got this little stool from Facebook Marketplace. It's a little rusted on top, and I'm fine with that because I plan on getting it wet often anyway. I love that it just sits beside my shower. And then speaking of the shower, it's a really nice sized, generous shower. A couple things I don't love about it, but again, this is what I would refer to as a champagne problem, is that I don't have a hand shower, so at some point I'm gonna upgrade that. And then it didn't have anywhere to store any items, so I put these 4 shelves in. And when I say me, I mean I hired someone to do that, and I don't think they did the loveliest job putting the caulking in. So it kind of looks like someone sneezed all over it, which is fine. I mean, honestly, like, it's not like this is going in a magazine or anything, but it's a slight eyesore, but I'm living with it. Not a big deal. This tub has been a complete joy. I love using it. I take baths often, as does Riley. So this tub we are just obsessed with. Just a couple other things that I did in here. I put soft close hinges on the cupboard doors because they slammed. And when I say I mean my friend helped me do that. And then over here, this was just open storage. So I had the cabinet guy that helped me with some of the stuff on the lower levels, put in these kind of built-in sliders up here. And then I really leaned into this lifestyle, containering and labeling. These boxes are from IKEA. They are unbelievable. Look what I did on the other side here. Look how great this is. Okay, I now understand why people feel happier when their space is organized by little containers. This just does make life so much easier. Just over here is the walk-in closet, and you see that I have no dressers or drawers or anything like that in the bedroom itself, so all of my clothing ended up in the closet. And when I first saw it, it felt so huge, and then shockingly, I filled it up really quickly. But what I love about it is when I moved in, the people who I bought this house from had beautiful built-ins put in already. So despite the fact that I don't have any drawers, I was able to pick up some baskets and just figure out how to make it work. What I had to do was buy a lot of hangers, but the majority of my stuff now hangs. And I have the necessities in here, like my tri-sorter, which I would honestly not go anywhere without. And I also have some open space in there, just in case. All right, moving down the hallway. On the left here is Riley's bathroom. I did not do a lot in here. It was not a priority space. Now, anyone who's a parent knows that your kid barely spends time in their own bathroom. They will always come into yours. So I will say this bathroom is one of the least used places in the house. So seeing that this is a 3-bedroom home, it has this very large second bedroom, but rather than making this the room that Riley sleeps in, I thought this would be kind of a fun place to make into a playroom / an office / a change room / anything she wants it to be. You know, this is another one of those rooms where I didn't spend too much money or put too much thought or effort into, because I know that once we settle into the house, its use will make a lot more sense, and then I can sort of intentionally plan for it and spend, instead of doing that right at the beginning when I wasn't quite sure how this space would be used. So it doesn't look like much now, and I'm totally fine with that. And so is she. Let's go see her bedroom. This is Riley's little bedroom, and when I say little, I mean it. I think this room is 10 by 8, and it's got like that odd shape to it as well. The thing I'm most proud about in this room is her closet and how I've managed to organize that. The thing I'm least proud about is the window coverings. I managed to find these cute ruffled ones, and I only ever changed one over, not the other. So I still have to do that. That is an ongoing project. In terms of what I brought into this space, I decided, you know, less sort of drawers in here were better. This room really can't hold much aside from a bed and a side table or two. In the closet, you'll see I have baskets to organize small things like leggings and t-shirts and socks and bathing suits, etc. So she knows where things have to go. We spend a lot of time discussing that and working on trying to keep our closet organized. I think it's a really great space, and it's going to teach her how to be mindful about what she has in her closet. Okay, I'm glad that I have been able to finally give you the top to bottom tour of this house. I love this house, and I would love to know in the comments what you think about this house, if there was anything that really stood out to you one way or the other that you really liked or you really hated, like the guy that installed that light fixture in my bathroom. Oh my God, that was actually a pretty funny story. But yeah, let me know what you think about it. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you check out our newsletter. It's called The Dirty Dish. It's full of tips and tricks and ideas. I've got a link to subscribe to that newsletter down below. And if you want to see the rest of the videos in this new home / moving series, you can click this button right over here. It'll take you right over to a playlist where you can check that all out. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks for being on this crazy journey with me, and I'll see you next time.